Aisha on Sounds from the Street.
Hi, this is Andy McCluskey from Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, and you are listening to Sounds from the Street on Pirate Cat Radio.
Hi, this is Alan Wilder from Recoil. You're listening to Aisha on Sounds from the Street.
Hey, this is Steve Diggle from the Buzzcocks, and you're listening to Aisha, Sound of the Streets. Best show in the world.
Hey, Jock, are you still with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing today?
I'm just eating my last bit of fish and chips.
I can't stand it. It's too much for me.
Yeah, I've been just visiting my new granddaughter, so I never had time to have anything to eat, so I've just been rushing about.
Congratulations. What's her name?
She's called Grace Isabella.
Oh, that's
quite old-fashioned, but nice.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little about yourself and what you've been doing recently?
Yeah, well, apart from the Punks Reunited thing, which takes up quite a lot of my time, actually, I've been recording a new album. I've just started.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I've got about 4 tracks done so far. And it seems the more I delve into it, the more sort of weird it's getting. Which is quite a good thing, really. It's quite interesting.
And are you working on a new book as well?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I've been working on it since about 5, maybe 6 years ago. I started doing it,
right? And
I sort of put it aside. I got this weird sort of freeze, writer's block, if you want to call it that. And I just sort of left it alone, but it's almost about 3/4 done.
Okay.
Probably a bit more than that, actually.
Right.
And I just got came to writing about a tour, and I just sort of froze on it. I just couldn't remember anything, But the last couple of years, things have started been coming back, and I've just been taking notes down again, and I'm starting to get back into doing it again, and actually thinking about it. It's probably a good thing, because everyone in the dog and the punk world have brought a book out, so let them all get theirs out of the way, and then there'll be nothing else but mine, so people will buy it in the end because they won't have much to read. Do you know what I mean?
So when would it start? Would it start in the early days when the Straps first got together, or?
Well, I just wrote about it from a child, really, because I grew up in a real sort of rough part of Glasgow, and then there was loads of gang fights and stuff like that used to go on, and also religious sectarianism, which exists in Glasgow, which is it's really quite bad still, Protestants and Catholics, and loads of football violence and stuff like that. So I thought I would touch on a bit of that, and then move on to when I first became aware of punk, and then and how it was when it all started, and then moving to London and the Straps, etc.
I have a question for you. How did people in Scotland, I guess Glasgow in particular, how did you find out about punk? Was it on television? I mean, because you didn't have the internet back then, so I guess the only way you would find out would have been through word of mouth or the radio and things like that.
Yeah, it was the radio for me. There was a guy called Stuart Henry, and he had a show. He was actually a friend of my dad's, because they both had MS. And Stuart Henry had a radio show in Luxembourg, Radio Luxembourg, and it was a Sunday evening, and I remember sitting at my mate's house. We were just messing around with air rifles or something in his garden, and we were shooting at cans out his window, as young lads do. And I just heard this fantastic piece of music. I thought, what is this? I put the gun down and scrolled in and had a listen, and it was the Damned Neuros,
Awesome.
I thought, this is really different, It's sort of just, and that was that, really. There was no turning back after that. Okay. Then I sort of went to my local record shop, and I started investigating this new sound, punk rock, and I discovered the Stranglers and a load of other things that were around at that time, the early stuff. And then...
Oh, go ahead.
And then the first punk night I ever went to was in a place called the Silver Thread, and my mate says, "Oh, and punks wear this and they wear that," and I thought, "Do they?" You know. So I hadn't a clue. All I knew was I loved the music, and I had to go and investigate. You know.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I just got one of his dad's old shirts, and I put loads of pins in it and stuff like that. And I probably still had flared trousers on as well.
And long hair.
But sort of like, But actually, saying that, when I was 14, 1974 that was, I discovered David Bowie, and I dyed my hair and spiked my hair up even then. So I was always a bit different.
Interesting. And do you feel like radio has the same influence that it did back then, or do you think that it's more underground to a certain extent?
I think radio has now been taken over by governments who control what gets played on, and apart from internet radio, which is, what you're doing, there's a wide range of stuff out there. But I mean, the mainstream radio, like, that everyone hears during the day, it's, the channels are just crap, aren't they? I can't bear them. And I suppose loads of people that I associate with hate it as well. It's just, it's pretty non-existent. But a lot of people, they go and they're working and it's on in the background. And I call it I just call it brainwash radio, It's just But it was different in them days for some reason. I think it was more, people could get away with more in a way.
Mm-hmm. But I don't think there was as much going on media-wise. It didn't have the same. It had more of an influence, I think, back then. I did an interview with this band from Detroit called Dale Earnhardt Jr., and he was saying how back in the 60s and 70s, if there was a song on the radio, everybody knew it. Like, it was just, that was, the Beach Boys, Fleetwood Mac, whatever. That was your generation. But nowadays, there's so much going on. Everybody has their own thing going on, so it's hard for people to relate to the same thing. And BBC, which is government owned, BBC Radio, they play, they have a punk show late at night. And I thought, well, I'll give this a listen, because I used to enjoy listening to John Peel, who was a fantastic, ambassador for punk, really. He put so many bands on the map, Definitely.
But there's nothing like that anymore, and there's this show that I was listening to recently, which was a inverted commas punk show, and I didn't hear one track that sounded remotely punk, They were playing things like Green Day ballads and
pop punk.
Just to me, it's just like nerd music,
Right.
That's off, it was nonsense.
It wasn't anything worth listening to?
Not at all, no. They were playing things that was just not anywhere near the punk music that I know, but they were calling it punk. I suppose it was the government's way of making kids feel rebellious or something,
Like Hot Topic. Here in the U.S., there's this chain store called Hot Topic. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. I go in there from time to time. I mean, it's marketed as this alternative, clothing store, and you can get, T-shirts and music and things like that. But it's really just, a really mainstream way of, doing it. Yeah. So it's not very genuine. But I guess that's the best that they can come up with.
Yeah, I mean, to get back to Stuart Henry, I mean, there was always sort of the music police, behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. But DJs seem to have more, they could experiment a little bit, back in them days. So they were sort of allowed to play things like the Sex Pistols and things like that. But then there came a period where, sort of like in the 80s, there was an old lady called Mary Whitehouse. She used to ban everything, anything that she thought was out of line didn't get airplay. You know.
Was she with
like
the BBC?
Sorry?
Was she with the BBC?
She was like a governing body of censorship, you know. She was, and she banned things like "Relax, Frankie Goes to Hollywood," which done them a great favour in the end because they got straight to number one, you know. Everyone wanted to hear it. It's like, you know, things that you can't have, you want to get at, you know.
I think here for, you know, when MTV became really big, it was like they would have two different versions of the music video. They would have the really explicit one, and then they would have the toned down version of it that they would actually show on TV. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's the same with the news, isn't it? The news is all censored, and what we get to see is different from it all goes through channels before it actually hits the air, doesn't it?
Right. Yes. Definitely. And do you want to tell us about the film Breaking Glass that you had a small part in?
Yeah, that was back in 1979 or something. That was a long time back. I was at an Adam and the Ants gig one evening, and I think it was the Electric Ballroom, and this guy was going around with forms, you know, asking anyone that looked sort of interesting if they wanted to be in a film. So. And in them days, we were all starving. We just said, "Yeah, please, you know, we're going to be movie stars." So everyone went along. About 2 weeks later, they started filming in studios in Cricklewood, and it was great because, you know, the money was quite good as well. As you know, probably double what the average wage was. So we were all delighted, you know. Practically everyone I knew was there. So it was just like, it wasn't like work, it was just having fun basically, you know. And the second day in, we all went up to the local off licence, and I nicked a bottle of cider from behind the counter, and we went up to this pub further up the road, and the woman seen me take it. So she sort of came out afterwards shouting, you know, put that back, you know, but of course I ignored her. And then the next thing I knew, I was trying to get through a toilet window and a copper had hold of my legs, you know, policeman. So I got arrested, and because it was the second day, it was quite important to the film that I'd be released because they had been filming all the day before. And if I wasn't in the next scene that day, it would have just been a mess if they'd have had to start again, basically. So this guy came up with a black suit on and the tie and the smart slick back hair and all this sort of carry on. There was about three of them, actually. And he came into the station and he said, please let this man go because we're making a film, blah, blah, blah. and they let me go, but I still got charged. I got charged with theft and breach of the peace or something like that.
Right.
It probably cost me about 3 days' wages at the fine, but never mind. And they let me go. So when he was in there, he said, "Oh, I'm the producer. So I'm from Breaking Glass, blah blah blah." And I found out just recently it was Dodi Fayed who was married to Diana, Princess Diana, the one that got killed in the car crash.
Yeah.
He was the producer. So he came up to Hendon Police Station and bailed me out, got me out, so that they could carry on with the film.
That's awesome.
You know, so all these little things are all in the book. It's all things that come back to me, like, you know.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Who else was in the film that we would know about?
Hazel O'Connor. She was a star. She was she played Kate, who was a wannabe rock star, and then she gets to the top and it all goes tits up for her and she has a nervous breakdown, and it's quite a good film, but well, it was a good film at the time, but I watched it recently and I thought it was pretty shit, really, but because we were all in it, it was just fun, you know.
Right.
But yeah, they were great times, and you know, the times that I would never change. Everyone was there.
Right. But apparently it's hard to find on DVD over there and in the U.S.
Yeah, it's quite hard to get hold of. I mean, I've only got it, luckily, because one of the guys on my page bumped me a copy and sent me it. But I've heard things like if you get it on eBay, it's something like 100 quid and 200 quid and things like that.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, so it's quite a cult movie. It's quite a sought after. It may well be released again sometime.
And do you want to tell us about the lead guitarist and the Straps that recently passed away, Simon Warner?
Yeah, Simon. Yeah, he died last November. He was only 55.
Oh, yeah.
A fantastic guitarist as well, you know, and a great friend. Yeah, he was one of these guys that he was very accident prone. Simon, you know, even from the day I met him, he used to tell me stories about when he lived in Canada, and he'd be riding his motorbike, and a bumblebee hit him in the eye, and they had to have an operation to get all the legs out. And I thought, bloody hell! He said it was like a stone hitting him in the face, you know. And then he told me another time that he caught his arm on a rusty nail in a pigeon coop or something, and he nearly lost his arm. And I thought, bloody hell, you know. And then in the 90s. Early 90s, he came over to visit me. He lived in Spain, Simon. He used to make props for spaghetti westerns and things like that. He's a very clever guy. And he came over, visited me once, and he'd just been recovering from a car accident he had, and he'd all his sternum bust, and just accident after accident with the guy. And I think it all caught up with him recently, and I think he had another motorbike crash when he was living in Thailand, and I think this one was an accident too many, really. And I think I mean, I don't really exactly know how he died, but I heard that he fell over and he sort of hurt he had brain damage and stuff, and he hemorrhaged or something, you know.
That's so sad.
Died. Yeah, and he's a lovely guy, you know, and honestly a fantastic guitarist. But just and so not underrated, but he should have been heard more. Do you know what I mean? If you listen to all the stuff he's done, like when he was in the Pack, Kurt Brandon's band, some really original sounding guitar things going on, you know. And afterwards, when we done some of the bar top stuff, some of the guitar things were quite ahead of the time as well. Yeah. And
do you want to tell us about your page on Facebook, Punks Reunited? It's become a popular meeting place for punks all over the world. What are your plans for the future?
I would quite like to have it as a proper website, really. I think not the danger, but the downside of it is a lot of people, they don't come off Facebook, do they? They don't sort of wander onto many websites these days. Facebook's the place, isn't it? You know, everyone sort of... So I'm quite happy with building it in different stages. I've got a Europe page now, which is really taking off now as well. And then hopefully I'll do a US one as well, because I'm sure there's loads of American punks that would like their own thing going on, you know.
Yes, there are a few of us out
I'm
here.
going global. I'm going to be one of these big bosses sitting with a cigar. Not really.
So basically, it's this ongoing thing. How long have you been doing this?
What, the Facebook thing?
Yeah.
So it's only about a year and 3 months or something old. It's filled up pretty quick, hasn't it?
Yeah.
But I did have the a MySpace page, which I told you about before, and that got took over by bands really advertising. So I just sort of left that. It's still there. You can still go on it, but nobody really bothers with it. So.
Nobody really uses MySpace anymore.
No, I think the Facebook thing on my page is really sociable. It's turning out a nice little scene going on it, you know.
Right.
And I try and keep the music as interesting as possible. I post loads of YouTube videos and stuff, and if someone wants their band played, they can send me stuff and I'll review it and things like that, you know.
Right.
And I try and keep it as interesting as possible, different topics and things that are going on.
Right.
It seems to be working, doesn't it?
Yeah. Do you feel like the internet has brought punk more recognition over the past decade or so?
Yeah, it probably has, actually. It's probably brought it back quite a good bit, actually, because it did sort of die away for a while, didn't it? And there's a lot of, and I think YouTube has brought loads of it back as well, because, I mean, I'm starting to put tracks on there that no one's heard, that I've got like demos and things from the straps that I can, you know, and now we've got the facility where they can be heard at last, you know.
Right.
Try and tidy them up a little bit and let people hear things that have never been played, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite good. You can stumble on all sorts of rarities, can you?
Randomness. And how is your new album coming along? Do you plan on releasing it yourself?
Yeah, I think that's the way to go, isn't it? I think that's what I'll probably do, yeah. Even, I mean, record shops are closing down, you know.
I know, it's so sad. It's sad for you because you've had it your entire life, but for me it's sad because, you know, I grew up with it, and then because when, you know, iPods came into being, it was weird, like the switch over. So I've kind of adopted to it, but then I still feel an attachment to actually buying music, and
because
like
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's happened to me twice now, and it's going to be it's going to happen again because we had the vinyl, and you know, and we all had like stereos with needles and things, and people stopped making them. Right. Well, they were pretty hard to find, and then the CDs came in, and all the albums got boxed and put away in the attic or under a bed or wherever they go.
Now they're worth hundreds of.
And then all the CDs started, and now they're becoming sort of obsolete, aren't they? They're starting to die out, and it's all iPod stuff, isn't it?
Right.
And there's no, to me, I always like, maybe an old-fashioned thing. I like to have a component, you know, when it's just all. It's in airwave form. You don't actually have a product. Do you know what I mean? It's an old-fashioned sort of way to look at it, I suppose, because you can still hear it. But I like to have the CDs or and read the sleeve, and it tells you who's playing on it and some of the lyrics and things like that. Whereas if it's on an iPod, it's just a tune, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like background music, and it's something that's marketable as a product, and there's no real emotional attachment to it, whereas I have so much attachment to it.
Yeah, when you're looking for something, you just go through a load of files, aren't you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's kind of
I prefer the old. Give me the old stuff any day.
Exactly. But on the upside, I don't know about over there. You're saying that a lot of record stores have closed, and it's kind of the same over here. I grew up in Southern California, in Los Angeles, so a lot of the record stores I used to go to in high school, they're gone.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it?
But then all these people like-minded like us, who think like us, you know, they want to go out and support the artists. They want to buy, the record or the CD or whatnot. They go to places like Amoeba Music. Have you heard of it?
No.
It started by a bunch of ex-UC Berkeley students in Berkeley, and then they opened one in San Francisco. It's like a huge, warehouse, and they have all kinds of, rare records that you can't find anywhere. That you would probably have to find online. And then they opened one up about 10 years ago in Southern California, and it's just, you go in there on like a Saturday, and it's just, a slew
sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of brings people together, kind of like...
Yeah, like the old... Yeah, well, we used to... That was a meeting place for punks in Glasgow when the punk thing first happened. Mm-hmm. There was a shop in Glasgow called Bruce's Records, and that's where we all got, we'd all meet there on a Saturday at lunchtime, and then you'd hang out there listening to all the new tunes, and they deliberately play you punk stuff because they knew you'd go in and buy whatever, But it was a great meeting place, and then you'd head off to the pub or, if there was a band playing or whatever, you'd all head up that way and go and watch. But it was a great, way for people to socialise. Now, all people seem to do is talk online and...
It's not very social.
It's not, is it? There's no physical,
Yeah, there's no human interaction, and that's so underrated nowadays.
Funny, I was talking to a guy that was in the Dub Pistols the other week. They played down here, and we were talking about that, how sad it is that, internet dating and, what happened to couples meeting over a glass of wine, or it's all done with words, isn't it? Yeah, it's
the new age, I guess.
Yeah.
And I guess back to your musical endeavors, who have you collaborated with, and who would you like to work with in the future?
Well, I've worked with a few people, Wobble, Captain Sensible. I even done a sort of mess around thing with Glenn Matlock a long time back. Great bass player, good bloke as well. But that was just like a jam sort of thing. Me, Simon, and him, and Jim Walker. And we'd done, what was it we'd done? I think we'd done Pretty Vacant and something else. It's just a bit of fun. I think everybody's played with Glenn, haven't they, over the years. Who else have I worked with? I worked with a guy recently called Barnaby Ray. He's a really talented drummer. He does sort of live drum and bass stuff.
Right.
But he's a very, very good drummer. He was interesting to work with. Who else?
Is that the same guys that you were talking about when you sent me that track that I played last time? He was more. I don't think it was drum and bass though. I think it was grime or dubstep. Oh,
that's MAX. Yeah, we're doing some stuff at the moment. He's a young lad really, so you've got to keep pestering him. Come on, Max, get your fucking arse in gear and get something written. And funny enough, he's on a police tag as well in a minute, so he had to be in for a certain time. So that's fun. But he's sort of like punk rapper, really, I suppose, because his attitude's right, and he's got some really good lyrics and ideas. So, we're doing some stuff. I'm writing the music, and I'm doing all the sort of main vocals, and then he comes in with some little rap bits. At the moment, I've just finished one about Mrs. Thatcher, Maggie Thatcher, like, and it's all. I mean, it's got all. It's moody. It's a moody track, and I've just got to add his rap to it, and then it'll be finished, and then I can go into track 5. But I've got so many ideas for this album. I want to try and make it sound as new and fresh as I can, and completely different from anything else I've done.
Well, that's the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's so easy to go down the old 1, 2, 3, 4 flash route again, but I've done all that, and I want to try and find something new, because I think the music business is starving a new sound as well.
Right. Expand your horizons and use the new technology to your advantage. I mean, there's so much more you can do nowadays.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am a qualified sound engineer, but I don't really like all the computer stuff. I'd rather work with proper old hardware. It's just me, really.
Interesting.
You get that old sound and raw, bit raw,
The warmth of the analog. And do you want to tell us about, you recently went to the Punk by the Sea in Portsmouth?
Yeah, that was fun, that was great, just to get away and away from boredom. It's quite boring down here sometimes. There's not a lot of bands. There's not a lot of bands play down here. You get the odd thing.
Is Portsmouth close to Cornwall?
It's about 250 miles, something like that.
Oh.
But we just booked a hotel and just went up there for the day. It was good. It was nice. I got invited along by the guy that was organising it, and I got to see 999 in the Buzzcocks, and I was talking to Steve and Pete afterwards, and nice to catch up with them again. Yeah, they're nice fellas. Yeah. Yeah. Old Pete's an old gem, isn't he?
He's a what?
He's a gem. He's a nice man.
He's a shining example of rock stardom.
Yeah, he just sits there, doesn't he? He's just like a wee old man now. Well, we all are.
I'm kind of ballsy, whereas I'll just, walk up to people and, introduce myself, and he just kind of looked at me like I was insane, but I shook his hand anyway.
Yeah, well, that's it. He's got to play the rock star, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think.
I met Arthur. He's a nice guy. The guy out there, he was playing with 999, and he's also in the Lurkers. I always meet up with him at events, and we always end up talking about our dogs, because he's a whippet greyhound man like myself. We always end up talking about rescuing greyhounds and things, But he's a nice guy. You ever met him, Arthur?
No.
Yeah. He was in the Lurkers. He still is. He still has the Lurkers going, but he also works with 999 and the Vibrators. So he's a bit of a man on demand. He plays bass,
Mhm. Yeah, do they come to the States? I don't know if they've been here in a while.
Who's that? 999?
Yeah, 999.
I think they always used to play over there, didn't they? But they're still a fantastic band.
Okay.
They're still great. Yeah. They were one of my early punk bands as well that I used to love listening to. One of these bands that you keep playing over and over the album till that was the thing about vinyl, to get back to that. You played it. If you played it too much, you had to go and buy another one, because you scraped it, scratched it with the needle.
You could only play it a certain amount of times, right? And then
you could play it, but the quality would just get worse and worse. And then that's how, when you put them on now, sometimes you hear an old vinyl, you sort of like.
Well, that just adds to the character.
Yeah, it does actually. Yeah, and some people actually have all that removed, don't they, from tracks?
Right. I
think just leave it.
I was going to ask you what did Steve say about me when you talked to him?
He was a bit worse. He was a bit worse for wear actually, but he remembered you, because I said, "Oh, you Aisha interviewed you the other week," and he went, "Oh yeah," but I don't know if he knew what I was talking about.
He was aware of himself.
And then I said it again, and he says, "Yeah, nice girl, yeah." And I thought, I don't know if he knows who I'm talking about, because he was a bit off his head, right?
He's so sweet, though. He's really, he was the one that I did the interview with, so he's really, he's a proponent for, the band and one of the original members. I guess two of the other guys, they're not the original members, so.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. And Diggle is, his sound keeps the buzz caught. Unfortunately, that night, his guitar couldn't be heard very well. The sound wasn't great, but you could hear it. But when he done his lead bits, it was quite. If you were standing, I tried listening to the side of the stage, which is always a bad idea. So I went to the back of the audience, and I still couldn't hear it. So, which was a bit of a shame, but it's still good.
Yeah, after all this time, and
they had so many hits, hits as well.
Right. In the UK, and then they were also on Top of the Pops and stuff, right?
Yeah. Which a lot of people frown at. They think, "Oh, you're not a punk band if you if you've got hits and things, but I mean that's nonsense, isn't it? It's just if you like music, you buy it, and if people buy it, then it's going to get up there, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they didn't think that anybody was going to, buy it. They just, it's something that they wanted to do, and that's what punk was. You had an idea.
Exactly.
And you put it out there, regardless of what people thought.
Exactly. It wasn't made to be a hit. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's true.
So you want to tell us about the Rebellion Festival that's going on this year? Are you going to that?
Yeah, I'll be going. Yeah, but we won't be playing this year, unfortunately. I've got a lot of health things going on at the moment.
Right.
Not very well actually, but
no.
That's what happens when you get to my age and you've abused your body the way I have.
Well, you can take better care of yourself starting now.
Well, I am now. Yeah, I've stopped putting salt and vinegar on my fish and chips. I'm just, I'm being a bit more careful. But when I go to Rebellion, it's quite hard to do that because everyone just has a great time, But I'm going to have to be a bit careful, really.
Yeah,
doctor's orders and all that.
There's like 3 or 4 days of bands playing?
Yeah, it starts on the Thursday and then it finishes on the Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
And then I usually just travel back on the Monday night. But usually the Saturday's the best, I think, I always find. It's always packed, because a lot of people on the Sunday realise they've got work the next day and things, and they start heading back. But it's really, it's a great festival. Everyone just meets up every year and has a great time.
Awesome.
And there's some good bands on this year. We've got Adamant pulled out. He pulled out of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. But we've got bands like Slaughter and the Dogs, The Damned, The Exploited, UK Subs, and there's too many. There's about 300 bands play.
Oh my God.
So you just it's in about 3 or 4 venues, and you can just wander in and out and see whatever band you want to see.
Right.
So you've got a timetable, and then you can go and watch whoever you want. It's good.
Awesome. Well, I'll have to make a trip out there one of these summers and catch it for sure.
You should come over. You'd enjoy it. If you like punk music, you'll love Rebellion.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and he does it. He usually puts one on in Holland as well. He does it in a couple of places, and I think they've had them in Australia in the past.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's quite a big thing, but I don't know about the advertising side of it because there's a lot of punks on my page that haven't heard of it or been, and you think.
Yeah. I'd never heard of it till you mentioned it.
It's been on for years. It used to be called Wasted. And it was
I heard
Morecambe.
of that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was in Morecambe. Yeah. And then they moved it from Morecambe to Blackpool, and then they changed it to Rebellion.
Is it near a pier or something?
Yeah, it's not too far from the beach. Yeah, it's quite good though. It's all right. Mm-hmm. You always get a good laugh there, like meet different people every year, and people come from all over the place.
Right.
You get Germans and Italians, and you name it, they're there. There's quite a few Americans.
I was going to say.
yeah, they do find their way there. Yeah.
They can make an appearance.
Yeah, you have to get yourself over. By the way, I listened to that Paul Cook's daughter's stuff the other night. She's quite good, isn't she?
Did she release something?
She's got an album out, I think. Someone posted a track on my page.
Okay.
It's like a reggae track. It's all reggae stuff, isn't it?
Because I remember listening to her when they were on Steve Jones's show in Southern California, Jonesy's Jukebox, and they were doing like something live on air, and I'd never really heard her sing before, and I thought she had an amazing voice. So
yeah, she's pretty good. Quite high, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm glad that she's doing that. Well, anyways, if people want to find out more about you, they can find Punks Reunited on Facebook and also Punks Reunited Europe.
Yeah, and the Straps, if they want to listen to the Straps, there's a MySpace page there.
Okay.
And, there's the album, the Straps album, you can always find it. There's always copies of it on eBay and things like that. It's always,
right.
And that always gets me thinking as well, how many was actually pressed, because everyone owns it. I just think, where did all the money for that go? I'm fucking skint. But everyone owns it. Everyone's got a Straps album.
Maybe you should re-release it or something.
Yeah, well, it was re-released in 2005. They've done a couple of thousand copies or something.
Every 10 years.
Every 10 years. I'm running out of 10 years, though. I'm just seeing if I can find that Paul Cook's daughter's track. I'll tell you what it's called.
Yeah.
Where is it?
I haven't seen her in a while. Last time I saw them was, obviously when Ari was still alive, 2007, I think.
Yeah.
Last time when they were here.
That was such a sad thing, Ari up dying, wasn't it? I mean.
Yeah.
Out the blue, eh? There it is. Holly Cook, Milk and Honey. It's called. And I think it's an album. I think the album's called... I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay. What was I gonna say? No, I have a lot of good memories, so same with
it's called That Very Night, I think.
That Very Night. Okay.
That'd be good.
I will definitely check it out. Well, thanks so much for taking the time today. Is there anything else that you'd like to throw out there?
I think we've covered everything, haven't we, really?
I think we have.
Yeah, it's lovely to talk to you again. And the next time I talk to you, maybe you'll be over here, eh?
Maybe. You never know.
Maybe, yeah. I'll take you for a kebab.
It better be chicken.
I'm a real big spender, mate. I'll take you for the kebab.
Well, maybe I'll make a trip to Cornwall since I haven't.
Yeah, well, the kebabs down here are shite. They're even worse than the ones in London.
You're going to try and kill me, aren't you?
No, I'm eating very healthily now. I'm starting to eat all sensible things like pasta and sort of really gay salads and stuff.
I love pasta. Sounds good.
Yeah, do you like pasta, do you?
I do. Well,
I'm not that keen on it, but I've been told that that's what I've got to eat, sort of carbohydrates like pasta and loads of rice and
it's
stuff
my
like
mom's.
that.
My mom's favorite thing to make, and we're part Italian, so it's in our bloodstream.
All right, so Mama does a good spaghetti, yeah?
She does, yeah. That's all she eats. So,
I'm not that keen, but I have to do it. So I want to stick around for my kids' sake, So I've got to be all sensible now.
Yeah, you can mix it up too. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can put in. So.
I've even started eating cereal.
Oh wow!
I know. Gone are the days of sausage, egg, and bacon.
All right. Well, take care of yourself.
Yeah, I will do. Thanks a lot. See you later.
And I'll talk to you later. Have a good one.
Right.
Okay.
Right, bye.
And that was my lovely interview with Johnny Grant, a.k.a. JockStrap, lead singer of The Straps, and he's currently working on a solo record, and also the autobiography is also in the works, I believe, and I'm excited about seeing Breaking Glass for the first time. I haven't seen it yet, so don't tell me. And also, if you want to find out more about him, look for Punks Reunited on Facebook. And I believe there's also Punks Reunited Europe. There's a lot of people joining on there as we speak. So definitely check that out. And apparently people have found each other on there and gotten married even. So it's even like a, love connection thing going on. So you'll definitely have to check that out. And also he mentioned that Jock mentioned he wanted to do a review of the Rebellion festival that we talked about a little bit during that interview. So stay tuned for that. That'll be in a few weeks' time. And that's going to be in Blackpool in early August, I believe. And there's a lot of good bands playing. I remember checking it out on the website. I think The Damned are going to be playing, Slaughter and the Dogs. a lot of big name bands, and then some newer ones as well. So it's definitely worth checking out, and I believe it's a 3 or 4 day type event as well. So look for that, Google that, find out more. And again, you're listening to another edition of Sounds from the Street. I am your humble host, DJ Aisha, and next week I'll be doing an interview with Kim Shattuck, lead singer and guitarist for one of my favorite bands growing up, the Muffs, from Los Angeles. I grew up in Southern California. Yes, I am an LA girl, believe it or not, currently in San Francisco. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.